I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. And this is Currents. It's a common form of cancer. We'll take you to a prayer service for victims of breast disease.
There are many people that are with them. Maybe they don't even know them, but they're praying for them.
In Haiti, the missionaries accused of kidnapping face a judge and charges that they have tried to do this before. We'll have the latest.
And the squared circle pays a visit to a local church.
Let me hit you in the head with a chair, and when you get up, tell me how you feel.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is the most common form of cancer for women, striking more than 1 million women around the world every year.
But caring for these women and men as well who are struck with diseases of the breast, it's not just about medical care, it's also about prayer.
It is what we found out at a prayer service last week at St. Catherine of Siena Church on Manhattan's Upper East Side.
The reason for having the Vespers tonight on the Feast of St. Agatha is to provide an opportunity for people to come to pray, to ask God's blessing, ask for God's healing in terms of breast cancer, because it is the Feast of St. Agatha who is the patron saint of those who live with diseases of the breast.
And seek the intercession of St. Agatha, a woman who remained single-hearted and dedicated to Christ and the Church, no matter the cost.
It's an opportunity also for the Dominican friars here to make their ministry known, their healthcare ministry known to other people.
We preach the gospel for the salvation of souls, and that preaching of the gospel for the salvation of souls takes us into the hospitals so that the sick know that at every moment of their lives, Christ is with them. Christ and the Church is with them.
And that there are many people that are with them. Maybe they don't even know them, but they're praying for them. I think it's a very supportive role, and it gives them a sense of peace and hope.
I raise my voice in song and ask God to help them, give them strength, give them fortitude.
They came here to pray. They came here to give thanks for intercession, whether they currently have breast cancer, if somebody they know and love has breast cancer, if they're a survivor. If you notice, there were men in the congregation as well, not just because they were accompanying people, but several of the men who spoke to me afterwards who also have breast cancer, which is very unusual, we think it, but it's prevalent in men as well. So they came here tonight to seek St. Agatha's intercession and help, and to really find some peace as they battle this disease and live with it, and to thank God in the cases where they've survived it.
That church, St. Catherine of Siena, is located near a number of hospitals, including New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center and the Hospital for Special Surgery. The friars at St. Catherine's provide healthcare ministry to all those hospitals in their neighborhood.
Well, there's more Currents coming up straight ahead. When we return, we'll have the day's headlines, including the Pope prepares to release a new statement on child abuse.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Coming up later, I try to avoid getting body slammed at a local church.
We'll see if that's successful.
Yeah, exactly. You heard that right. We'll explain it coming up in just a bit.
Look forward to that one. But first, let's have a look at the day's headlines. Well, a Haitian mother is thanking God today after her 28-year-old son was pulled alive from the rubble of a building in Haiti's capital. This is 4 weeks after the devastating earthquake. Evan Muncie was rescued from a building where he sold rice. Doctors say he suffered from extreme dehydration and malnutrition, but did not appear to have significant injuries. His mother spoke to CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta through an interpreter.
Je viens pour notre force parce que de beaucoup de gens il y a quelques bagages. Moi j'étais quoi me ca joindre, moi j'étais quoi tout, les capas là parce que tout ça va ouais et le vini.
Doctors say Muncie must have somehow been able to find access to water during the past month. Although confused, Muncie told them someone had brought him water while he was trapped. Well, a new report from Planned Parenthood calls for kids as young as 10 to be given comprehensive sex education. The report also criticizes the Catholic Church for imposing, quote, tremendous barriers that prevent young people, particularly from obtaining information and services related to sex and reproduction. The report calls for children ages 10 and older to be given extensive sex education by governments, aid organizations, and other groups, and says young people should be seen as sexual beings. A Washington, D.C. Elections Board says the issue of gay marriage cannot go before voters. The city's Board of Elections and Ethics has ruled that putting gay marriage on the ballot would violate the city's civil rights law. Opponents of gay marriage, including the Archdiocese of Washington, have appealed the ruling to the D.C. Superior Court.
The Vatican will fight child abuse within the church. That promise from Pope Benedict, as we hear now from Rome Reports.
Benedict XVI is getting ready to sign a special document that he says will prevent child molestation cases within the church and would punish those who commit those crimes. But for the moment, the Pope has vowed to continue working to protect the rights of children and has once again condemned people of the church who have been involved in sexual abuse cases. Pope Benedict XVI made the statements during a meeting with the Pontifical Council for the Family. The department is in charge of raising awareness of the fundamental importance of the family for the life of the church and society.
Si intende porre in evidenza presso l'opinione pubblica I benefici che la famiglia reca alla società, alla sua coesione ed al suo sviluppo.
Currently, the council is getting ready to publish a guide intended to prepare young people for marriage. Benedict XVI recalled that preparation begins in adolescence, when parents teach children to understand life as a vocation to love. According to Benedict XVI, parents should stress that the meaning of sexuality should be integrated into authentic love. Then, while dating, another type of training is also needed.
Occorre inoltre porre particolare cura perché in tali occasioni I fidanzati ravvivino il proprio rapporto personale con il Signore Gesù, specialmente ascoltando la parola di Dio, accostandosi ai sacramenti e soprattutto partecipando all'Eucaristia.
The Pope also stressed the formation engaged couples receive during the months leading up to the wedding ceremony. Benedict XVI also talked about children's care. He recalled that kids need to feel loved and respected by both a father and mother who love each other. He added that the best way to protect children's rights is by supportive parents who form a stable family.
There are 9 million people in the state of Texas, and the nation's largest state Baptist group wants to reach them all with the gospel in the next 2 months. The Baptist General Convention of Texas has encouraged member churches to hand out the Bible on CD at block parties, festivals, food pantries, and door-to-door as well. The CD contains the New Testament in more than 400 languages. The Baptist General Convention of Texas has 2.3 million members who attend its 5,700 churches. Well, a new study suggests that moral judgments are made independently of religious background. Reports say a group of psychologists from the U.S. and Finland conducted the study and found that religion, quote, has no influence at all on the intuitive system that operates more generally. The psychologists also suggest that religion itself is a byproduct of evolved non-religious mental functions. And finally, as New York City prepares for a blast of winter tonight and tomorrow, there are some school closings to tell you about. Public schools throughout the city will be closed tomorrow, along with all Catholic schools in Brooklyn and Queens. The National Weather Service says most of the snow should roll in after midnight tonight, and parts of the city could get up to 10 inches accumulation.
Another big storm. Oh, yeah. Well, stay tuned. There's more currents coming up. Just ahead, was it a mission of mercy or something else? New questions about the church workers accused of kidnapping in Haiti.
Welcome back. In Haiti, the wait continues for the 10 Baptist missionaries who were jailed and charged with kidnapping after allegedly trying to take 33 children out of the country last week. Southern Baptist leaders have written to President Obama asking him to intervene and help secure their release.
Meantime, following a court hearing yesterday, the leader of the group says she was confident they would be exonerated, and she added that she placed her trust in God. Nevertheless, a Haitian police officer tells CNN the American church volunteers have tried this before. We have more now from Carl Penhall in Port-au-Prince.
Laura, move! Did you explain to your colleagues that you did not have the paperwork?
The missionaries were tight-lipped as they came back before a Haitian court. Baptist pastor Paul Thompson quoted only a Bible passage which says God will comfort and protect you in times of danger and despair.
2 Corinthians 4, 7 to 18.
The Americans are charged with kidnapping after trying to bus 33 babies and children out of Haiti without the proper paperwork. But attorneys on their legal team say that's not true. Lawyer Jorge Puello said the group had authorization from the Dominican government at least.
They had the legal paperwork.
Which legal paperwork did they have, sir?
I'll give you information at the right.
Despite that pledge,
You're going to show us that permission?
I'll give you a copy.
But you said you would show us that permission. Can you show us that permission now, Mr. Puello? And if you don't show us that permission, why did you say you were going to show it to us?
Puello left without sharing the documents he said he had. The Dominican consulate in Port-au-Prince says it gave no authorization for the missionaries' so-called mercy mission. Away from the court hearing, CNN tracked down a Haitian police officer who is now a witness in the case. He told us he shut down an earlier attempt by the missionaries to round up a separate group of children. He explained he discovered Laura Silsby and the Americans with 40 children on a bus. He believes they may have been looking for even more youngsters. The officer asked us to protect his identity for fear of reprisals.
I say, hey, what's happened? She told me, the girl told me, I got a paper. I've got a paper to cross the border, the Asian border, Dominican border, with 100 kids. I tell her, but you must have Asian paper. The Asian government must give you a paper to cross the border with the kids. I say, it's forbid. I say, all of kids, get down the bus.
But that warning the policeman says he gave them appears not to have deterred the Americans. They were arrested 3 days later with a bus containing a different group of children. Back at the court, one of the team of newly appointed Haitian attorneys said his American clients were holding up despite Spartan jail conditions.
Because they believe in God. In God they trust.
After 2.5 hours answering a judge's questions, Silsby emerged. If convicted, she could face years behind bars. It was clear she was putting her faith in higher hands.
I am trusting God to reveal all truth and that we will be released and exonerated of charges.
CNN's Carl Penhall in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Well, stay with us. There's much more currents straight ahead.
When we return, I get some unexpected career counseling.
You look like you're in pretty good shape. Do you think you might want to get in the ring or something? We could maybe work into the show.
Well, looks can be deceiving.
When you think of typical fundraisers at church, the first thing that may come to mind may be something like a bake sale, a benefit concert, or maybe even a walkathon.
Right, yeah, those are very typical, but there was actually a very different kind of fundraiser taking place this past weekend at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. As you're about to see, things got a little crazy, but it was all for a good cause.
Well, I'm here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church. Now, I'm not here for Mass, obviously. I'm not here for the Feast of the Giglio. That's in the summer. I'm actually here for the FCW match tonight. It's Forgotten Championship Wrestling. Yes, wrestling at the church. I'm going to see if I can find out what it's all about.
Oh, we got legends galore. One, we got Brutus the Barber Beefcake. We got Chris Canyon, former world champion tag team champ. Additionally, we got Mr. Everything, Johnny Ledoux, the FCW heavyweight champion.
You know, great characters, athletic wrestling, and just a great performance in the ring. And like it says on the back of our motto is,
bringing wrestling back.
Not back to Madison Square Garden and the big wigs in New York City, but we want to bring it back to our communities right here in Brooklyn.
I came down here to FCW to check it out. They gave me a call early this morning. They wanted to know if I could help them out. Once I heard that they were with the Wounded Warrior Project, how could I say no?
Like I said before, Matt, we're not only a company that believes in the family, we believe in family-friendly prices. That's why I'm practically giving this show away, and I'm giving FCW tickets away almost at only $20.
And that's one thing I was kind of wondering about. Some people might be thinking, okay, wrestling and the church, do the two really go together? So that's the first thing I'll ask.
There are a lot of people from the community that are here that are learning that, you know, Mount Carmel is a community-minded place. And that's building up the spirit here in the parish very much. And the fact that the Warriors Project is benefiting from this, that's an even greater blessing.
I believe that everybody should come out and have a great experience, and that's what FCW is all about. So come on out.
There's a lot of people and a good cause, and that's the basis for us.
The Pope, I tell you what, when I told him I was booking the show, he was the first one to come.
It's the Pope. Hi, Sir Pope.
Professor Paul Pope, the keenest mind in the wrestling business.
So you're like the super genius on top of everything.
You're smarter than you look, Matt.
I've been talking to some people around, and they've been trying to pressure me to kind of get in the ring. I think as long as you're not in there when I'm in there, maybe I'll consider it. I don't know.
I'll let you live, Matt. Don't you worry, buddy.
You're a good-looking guy. I would like to recommend, Matt, stay out of the ring, Matt. Stay out of the ring.
I think that's the best advice I've heard all day.
And the reality is, if you're watching the wrestling match, you see it's probably more acting and skill than it is violence.
Let me hit you in the head with a chair, and when you get up, tell me how you feel.
You look like you're in pretty good shape. Do you think you might want to get in the ring or something? We could maybe work into the show.
Well, looks can be deceiving, so I don't know if I necessarily. This is a wimpy arm here, so.
About that, you know, but think about it. All right.
Well, okay. Now, you might want to say a quick prayer for me, Monsignor, because they're trying to get me to go into the ring tonight. A few people that I've talked to have just been trying to push me to go into the ring, and I don't know if I want to do that. And if I do, if I happen to make it into the ring, you might want to say a little prayer for me, for my health especially.
Well, the Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes is coming up, so.
Well, okay, I've survived the night. Nobody's body slammed me. Nobody's taken me out in the ring or anything like that. This is as close as I've come to that so far. So I think I've done pretty good. But anyway, now time to send it back to the studio. Hey, man.
Hey, man. Thank you.
Come here. Well, he was wrong. Back to you guys at the studio.
Well, forgotten championship wrestling. Ouch. At Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And as you heard there, the match was actually held to benefit the Wounded Warrior Project, which provides help to severely injured U.S. soldiers. And it was also held to benefit the Memorial Day Foundation. And what they do is they work to kind of promote the true meaning of Memorial Day and kind of get that back into the public eye as well. So great organizations there. My goodness, it was...
Can you believe this guy? I can't believe it. I'm going to have a new name for you. It's like, forget Roddy Piper or Andre the Giant. We're going to have like Mad Matty McClure or something. And you're going to go out there and you're going to be a pro wrestler now.
Just from that last bit there, what you could tell, just don't call me Matt the Magnificent, because that would not be a good name for my wrestling career.
Had you ever tried it before, ever? I mean, I'm sure you, in high school, like we all did, maybe had a wrestling team or something.
Right, we did. And I kind of toyed around with the idea of joining the wrestling team at one point, but then I became involved in my artsy things, you know, band and chorus and stuff.
You don't want to be the singing wrestler, like
right? No.
That would be.
That'd be a good character though in pro wrestling. I don't know if that's ever been done before.
I don't know. Well, I know Mickey Rourke reprised the role of, not reprised, but he basically, you know, did the movie called Wrestler and was very successful in that role more recently. So it's kind of back in our attention. But my brothers used to watch it all the time, and I was subjected to the body slams and all those crazy outfits. And we all know Hulk Hogan is, you know, still kicking around. And, you know,
I grew up. You know, a lot of my friends were really into it too. When I grew up in the age of like wrestling was in its heyday. You know, pro wrestling was. It was cool to meet some of these guys who have been, and that's one of the big things of forgotten championship wrestling is they're trying to kind of return to the
Sure.
old school wrestling when it was big.
The inspiration, they have found him right here. I think, it may not be Maddie the Magnificent, but I think it's maybe Mad Maddie McClure. I like that one. That's
okay,
that's
good.
That's how I'm coining
as long as
it.
the word magnificent's not in there, or
not on this
any
one.
other thing that means great, because
and all for a good cause.
It was great, and it was all for a good cause, and that's what matters. People had fun, but they came out in
and we
support.
got to see you look ridiculous.
Of that. Well, I'm becoming very, very good at that. So, well, that is it for this edition of Currents and me looking like a fool. Coming up tomorrow, you'll meet the man behind one of the biggest Catholic blogs in the world. He is no fool.
No.
He is Lino Rulli's Catch of the Day. It's the guy who's behind Whispers in the Loggia. So it's one that you'll want to catch coming up tomorrow.
For sure. And remember, you don't even need a TV to watch Currents. You can always catch us online at currentsny.net, and you can rewatch that piece with Maddie in there in the ring.
Over and over again.
Until next time, thanks so much for watching. I'm Francesca Maxime.
Thank God for TiVo. I'm Matt McClure. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You're never going to live this one down.